In this video, we will cover physical disk troubleshooting in a vSAN environment. For the purposes of this video, we will be investigating a disk in a permanent device loss status. The first place to investigate a potential vSAN disk issue is from vCenter. After logging in, we need to navigate to Disk Management by highlighting the vSAN cluster, going to the Configure tab, scrolling down to vSAN, and selecting the Disk Management option. From here, we can see the health status of each host, as well as how many disks are in use. Any host with a potential disk issue will display an unhealthy status. Once we have identified which host is in an unhealthy status, we can select the host and choose the View Disks option. From the disk view, we need to identify which disk group is in an unhealthy state. Expanding the unhealthy disk group will reveal which drive is in a non-healthy state. There are several disk health status codes available, but in this example, we see that the failed drive is in a permanent disk failure status. Another location in vCenter to check for disk-related alarms is the vSAN Skyline Health section. To navigate to vSAN Skyline Health, select the vSAN cluster, go to the Monitor tab, and scroll down to vSAN, choosing Skyline Health. From the overview under Health Findings, the default view displays all unhealthy items. We see Operation Health for the physical disk category is showing a problem. Clicking the Troubleshoot option shows us a disk has an overall health status of red. We can also see potential disk issues from the Storage Devices tab. To review this section in vCenter, we must select the ESXi host with a red exclamation point in vCenter. From here, go to the Configure tab, and under Storage, select Storage Devices. In this example, we do not see an indication of a problem for the affected drive due to the way it failed. However, some failures can result in a drive showing a problem from this view. When a vSAN disk fails, a resync operation is initiated immediately. We can review resync activity from vCenter by navigating to the vSAN cluster, going to the Monitor tab, scrolling down to vSAN, choosing Skyline Health, and reviewing the vSAN Object Health tab. Selecting the Troubleshoot options gives us the ability to view further details on how many objects and which objects are affected by the recent disk failure. In this section, we will use various commands to review the status of vSAN disk health by connecting to an ESXi host via SSH. Please refer to Knowledge Base article 209262 to view the full list of commands. The first command we will run is vdq space dash q capital H to check disk eligibility for all drives on the host. From here, we can see that disk result 12 is missing the name, and it also shows is PDL equals to 1, indicating permanent device loss. Next, we will run vdq space dash I capital H to see if any drives are missing from any disk groups. Here we can see the last magnetic disk entry for disk mapping 0 displays a UUID instead of a name. This confirms a disk is missing. Note the fourth component of 324F in the UUID. We will reference this in the next section. Another command we can use to confirm if any drives are missing from any disk groups on the host is ESXCLI vSAN storage list. In this example, we see an unknown disk and the in CMMDS value is false. Notice the UUID of the unknown disk is the same from the previous example, with the fourth component being 324F. The remaining commands we will use can be referenced in Knowledge Base Article 209262. We can leverage smart data to check for read and write errors on all disks in the host. Notice in this example, the NAA ending in 97D has a health status of impending failure and a high number of read errors. Here we will look at how many disk groups are available on the host. Notice in this example, one disk group is missing the UUID. This is because we have an unknown drive that is not part of a disk group. Next, we will check if there are any ongoing or stuck resync operations. This command can take a bit of time to display the output and can be stopped by pressing Ctrl+C. Here we can see we have a little less than 400 gigabytes worth of data to resync. To check the state of vSAN components, we use the Commands tool to view all healthy, inaccessible, absent, and degraded components. vSAN uses different object state codes to represent object health. A state of 15 means absent or degraded, where a state of 7 means healthy. Notice here we have two components showing as absent or degraded with a value of 15, and the remaining 96 vSAN objects are healthy with a state of 7. Now we will explore how to identify the physical location of a failed drive using command line. First, we need to list all available devices. Next, we need to validate the physical location of each drive by querying the NAA device ID one at a time. When reviewing vCenter earlier, we identified the disk ending in DA3F was in a permanent disk failure state. We can see here the physical location of this drive is slot 2. In some disk failure scenarios, the name of the disk will be missing. One way to align a failed disk in this scenario is to determine which slot is missing to identify the failed drive. We will use the script available in KB 209262 to accomplish this. In this example, we see no drive listed for slot 8. Finally, we can review various log files to find storage-related messages. The first log file we will review is VM kernel log, looking for any sense codes. Searching for the word sense, for example, we see numerous medium errors visible for the disk ending in NAA DA3F. Scrolling down a little further, we see a message that a vSAN device is under permanent error. The next log we will review is vovd.log. Here we can search for the word permanent, and we see at the same timestamp from VM kernel log, a vSAN disk UID is listed as under permanent error. Lastly, we will look at vSAN device monitor d.log. Scrolling to the bottom, we can see the disk NAA ending in DA3F is showing a state of disk under permanent error. This concludes the vSAN disk troubleshooting process. Thank you for watching.